coming to you live from an abandoned bottle shop freezer in Wolf Creek. It's time for Destiny Down Under.
Welcome to the something or other 56 millionth Destiny Down Under podcast. My name is Log Power Slave, and as always, I'm joined by Mylan Games, and this week, Shit Hat Sloth. Welcome. How are you? How's your shit hat going?
You know what? Fuck you. That hat is older than fucking most of the people that play this game. Eat my entire ass with a fucking soup spoon, you prick.
Anyway, for anyone who came from a very gentle law stream, welcome to what happens when you put more than one Australian in a room together.
Basically, it just becomes a coarse language-infused pissing contest who can hang the most shit on each other. So anyway, if you've come over from Matt's stream, welcome. And dudes, how's the week been? I haven't seen you this week. Last week we were all waging war in Mordhau, but it's all gone quiet.
Yeah, I haven't had any Mordhau buddies. What have I done this week? I my routine doesn't really change much anymore. I'm pretty much like heads down, bum up with PhD stuff at the moment. Like really trying to knock some of that out of the way. So I'm not playing a hell of a lot of Destiny. I'm playing a bit of other games every now and then. Well, actually, more than every now and then. Most nights with Sloth.
Most nights.
Most nights with Sloth. Last night, I had a mate over, and he's got his second.
He was beating him off.
Yeah, I was.
Come on.
With Beat Saber. He's got his second child due, and he's FIFO, so he's got the rest of the time off until baby arrives, and so he's like, "What are you doing? You know, play some VR." So we played Beat Saber until 2 a.m. in the morning, man. It is so addictive, that game. It is so good. I can't explain how good it is.
Were you fucking tired? It doesn't
look good. What?
Were you tired?
Yes, I was tired. Yes, I was super. I felt like Sloth this morning. But have you guys played it? Have you played Beat Saber?
Man, come on.
We're not fucking. We don't have EA paychecks paying for our VR systems, Matt.
Like, why don't you get the plebeian PlayStation VR, mate? They're pushing
because we don't play on PlayStation because we're not console plebs.
We're in the awkward middle ground.
We're on PC, but we don't get paid squillions of dollars to fucking, talk up a dead game.
Oh, hey, Sloth, you're in such a mood today. Well, how are you, mate? You actually look pretty happy.
Oh, mate, I'm fucking
coming out of your mouth.
Eat my fucking suck my small.
Stop it.
I'm. This week's been a thing, because we started Sekiro this week. What a fucking beautifully made, absolutely rage-inducing son of a bitch game.
It's hard, isn't it?
Christ almighty.
It's freaking hard.
So
it's harder than Bloodborne, in my opinion.
Legit. So I like the combat system is absolutely fantastic. I love the combat system. I love that it's like less block and parry and more deflects. And the death blows are so satisfying. They're really, really, really satisfying. I'm up to Genichiro, whatever you want to call him.
Which one's that?
He's the dude at the top of you got to climb the tower to rescue Kuro and Emma.
Has he got like a pole axe?
No, he's got a katakana.
Okay.
And he's it's fun. It's really, really fun. So if I can't beat him next time I stream it, I'm going to go try and take on the undead that's in a cave. And it's just, it's fantastic. I love it. I love the game so much, but it is so rage-inducing.
I I think it's a great game. I just don't think the combat was for me. I much prefer Bloodborne style flexibility with how you build a character.
Well, I mean, yeah, you build a character, but like, it's such a departure from what From Software have done in the past of the Soulsborne, a Soulsborne situation. Like you've got stealth kills, like it's more MMO-y. Well, it's not MMO. It's more RPG rather. It's more RPG than just a standard boss rush, and it's so good.
I think they've
The one enemy
refined
that
it.
I legit.
Sorry, I was
Go
just going
on.
to say, I think they've refined like the combat approaches you can realistically take, and it leads to better encounters but less variety. If that may, like, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
The best thing that I love doing is going from a high place and landing on one of those motherfucking dudes with the big baseball bats that just rush you, and then bounce on 1 foot for about 10 steps and then just swing this giant spiked baseball bat at you. Or the dude that has the bell on a rope, like the giant fucking bell on the rope. It's amazing. And jumping down and doing a death blow on them is, it's enjoying.
I think Chucky might be
really
the guy
enjoyable.
in the YouTube comments this week with the actual podcast starts at such and such minutes. Just keep an eye on the clock, Chuck. You can beat everyone else to it, mate.
Keep an eye on the clock.
Anyone playing Destiny on this effing podcast?
Well,
It's fucking me. I'm the only one. I'm shit at it.
Yeah, Log. How was your week, mate?
Good. I've got the bloody Outbreak Catalyst and all that shit done. I got quite a bit done this week. I didn't play on Wednesday like I normally do because I was crook as fuck.
barraging the toilet.
Fuck. I was so
Were you
sick.
sick, were you?
Yeah, we've had like this gastro bug go through my whole family, like an extended family. It started at my daughter's daycare, and because daycares are just fucking warrants for disease.
Petri dish of disease.
And it's just blitzed everyone. I didn't get it as bad as everyone else, but me being me, I carried on like an absolute sook and made everyone think I did anyway. So it was pretty rough.
If you wanna watch some legit war tactics, rewrite Game of Thrones and just give one army gastro and they'll just lose. There's nothing that cripples a person more than gastro.
That's another thing that closed out this week, isn't it? Is fucking Game of Thrones. It's done. It's done.
Finished, mate.
Yeah,
How many
it's
years?
It's over. I'm just sick of Mondays not being able to go online for fear of some inconsiderate dipshit talking about it without using the appropriate hashtags. But anyway, let's not get into that. Let's actually talk about Destiny because we've got heaps of fucking good news this week. Right?
This twab and the note from Luke Smith on May 23rd. It's exciting. Like last week was the week of the nerf, as like the week with all of the nerfs and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was
like
rough.
everyone was really upset by that, but this is exciting. This is legitimately. I'm very, very excited for this. So do you want to just go straight into that note from Luke Smith?
Yeah, I'll just play a sting and we'll go straight into it. Here we go. Holy shit, that was loud in my ears. I don't know if it was that loud for everyone else, but
It was loud. Okay, from Luke Smith, May 23rd, 2019. Excuse me. World first update, Crown of Sorrow. When we were building Vault of Glass in 2013, the notion that our raids would launch a competition around World's First in Destiny was only a dream. The me from 2013 certainly didn't imagine we'd have the opportunity to make sweet championship belts and jackets for champions and competitors. It has been an incredible multi-year run. Bosses have fallen off ledges. Sword bearers have been clutch and giant foes have created jaw-dropping moments. The list could go on, but with Crown of Sorrow, we hope to add more memories to your time in Destiny raids. So the world's first races in Destiny, and this is something that I really like, and I've said this a few times, that I think that this is the way that they should have gone. I'm not going to say I called it ages ago, but this is what has always been in the back of my mind, is that world's first races in Destiny are attempting to deliver the following experiences: power progression that challenges raiders to climb to compete for world's first, showcase team communication, game strategy, and player skill, and a watchable and fair world's first race. Now, that second point, showcase team and team communication, game strategy, and player skill, that is what a raid is supposed to be. Not because you're overpowered, but because you have good communication, good puzzle solving skills, great strategy, and player skill. That's what it comes down to. So I think this contest is really, really fantastic.
We've been saying this. Like, this is what we've been saying as soon as I think we started this conversation when they started doing rewards, like the raid jacket, and when it sort of transitioned to not just community led, but like Destiny, Bungie announcing world's first winners and stuff like that, is like, we need to have a set of rules, needs to be standardized. And I think they've gone all. I actually probably didn't expect this many changes or
I
this many.
I didn't either. I totally agree.
Boundaries. Everyone knows the boundaries. These are the boundaries. These are the rules, guys. This is, get ready, get prepared. This is going to be a freaking exciting race to watch, man. I really want to participate in it, but I don't think I'll be at the level that I need to be and have everything ready, but I'll be watching. I think it's going to be a great spectator race.
I'm actually considering just like, I would be working. It starts at 9 a.m. our time, like at least East Coast Australian. I'm still considering having a day off and not playing it and just sitting here with the popcorn out, just with a different team on every monitor. And you know what? The other thing that it adds really more than anything is the ability for anyone to come in and take it. Like we saw with Ninja with Last Wish, the impact that being the leader for even a little while can have on your fucking career or on Twitch, right? So this blows the fucking doors off that. It's anyone's game. I know the TA boys are gonna have a crack. Ransack's leading that effort, and I wish them all the best. But for fuck's sake, this is gonna be like everyone on every platform. It's gonna be way more hotly contested than it has in the past, and I think that's the ideal outcome. Talking to Jugs and things like that ran with Ninja for Last Wish, and the amount of pre-work they had to put in to really be leveled up to begin to be competitive for it. It was huge, really. It was a hell of a lot of work. I think, and it preserves the challenge of the raid itself too. Like if you're only able to get in at that level and it's capped, then it's the same difficulty for everyone else. There's no, he was a higher level
At the end of the raid, obviously power level is going to become a factor. At the end of the like in the final fight, it's going to become a factor, of course, because people won't be able to get to 740 or higher or 730 or higher in that initial 6 hours.
What are the numbers? Do you guys know? Because I saw some tweets and some things about like, does this mean people will leave the raid race to level up halfway through and come back?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. So a lot of people I've heard issues. I've heard rumblings on Reddit, in my own stream, on Twitter, and in other channels, is that people will go as far as they can and then swap out with people who have been like they instead of having a 6-man team, they have a 8 to 10-man team, and they switch out to keep it going. I know how it sounds.
We're cunning motherfuckers, aren't we? Guardians, right? You know what? The cheese
but the
is
interesting
having
thing
more
about
than
doing
6
that,
people.
Sloth, the interesting thing about doing that is, even though Bungie hasn't said it, I imagine they will only acknowledge the 6 fire team members who were there at the end.
But
I imagine it might be self-correcting unless people don't care about
when you
that.
think about it. If you only finish the final encounter of a raid, it doesn't count as a completion. You're going to have to do all of it, because I've done Last Wish in parts numerous times, but I've only got a couple of completions because I've sort of jumped in and helped out and finished it or whatever. I think on PC it actually says I've done 0 completions, yet I have 1,000 voices. So There's that. I mean,
That's a valid point.
So
that is a
you're gonna
valid
have to-
point. If you
you may
have
well
not-
have to do all
if
of
you
it.
haven't done the if you haven't done the thing, so
wonder.
does that mean that teams of 6 are going to go as far as they can until power level really starts to kick their ass, and then they'll pull out to go level and do the prime engram thing, and then come back to it?
The fucking risky play, man.
It's a big play.
It's a big play.
so-
I can't imagine streamers doing that either. I can't imagine
Well, when
having
you're beating
30,000 or whatever ridiculous amount, tens of thousands of people watching you, and then like being like, okay, guys, I'm going to go grind so we can come back.
Yeah, that'll
I don't
just
know.
stall. That'll just kill the
It'll-
stream. Oh, well, fuck this. I'm going to go.
I
watch
mean,
it.
I don't
Unless
think
we get
people are-
like another 24-hour thing, unless we get
I don't
pushing
think
on
people-
like just headbutt against wall, unless we're like pushing that. But there's been heaps of times where I've looked at a stream and be like, there's no fucking way they're strong enough to get through. And they do. Like nearly all the raids, I'm like, how the fuck are you getting through this? And they work it out. So, you know.
Now going back to Luke Smith's notes here, when Crown of Sorrow goes live on June 4th at 4 p.m. Pacific, here is what to expect. While contest is active, players will face an enforced challenge throughout the raid. This means power beyond certain levels will provide no advantage for a given fight. Example, for the first fight, all power above 700 will not provide an advantage. And for the final fight, power above 720 will not provide an advantage. We're going to deploy the update at 8 a.m. Pacific, and the game will be down until 10 a.m. Pacific. So that as many players as many players as possible can get through the download and verification step to be ready for Opulence launch. So, not trying to be snarky here like I was at the start, PlayStation has absolutely no chance of starting this raid on time.
No, there is a reason why they will start this raid on time in the TWAB. Because there's a maintenance window that allows everyone to download it, and it launches all at the same time on all platforms.
Ooh, okay, all right.
So this is exactly what we were saying last week, right?
They've done everything they can to level it.
Well, you know, we were talking about seasons having cycles and how the beginning of the cycle, it needs to be harder, and at the end of the cycle, it needs to be easier. And they've literally just done that. While the contest is running, we're going to pretty much add modifiers to make it challenging. And when the contest
do you think we can claim that?
What's
No.
that?
Do you think we can claim
No.
No, we definitely can't claim that.
You know why we can't claim it is because
100%.
we'll get people from
joking,
we'll
you
get
idiot.
other Australians in here, so we'll get like people like Tony in here just going, "Shut the fuck up! You guys didn't come up like Tall Poppy syndrome, just cutting us down to level."
No, we certainly didn't come up with the idea.
No, we didn't.
That's for sure.
You know what
But
I
it's
also like about it? For someone who is definitely more casual when it comes to like numbers, when it comes to like thinking about how do you maximize your power level and what power level do you need to be at for encounters, like this just makes it really easy. This makes it really simple. It's like there's no point being over 720. Easy. That's the target. That's the goal. That's the goalposts.
Yeah. Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I still think people are going to be flat out getting to 720 before then. That's a hell of a lot of light to jump, or power, whatever it is these days, to jump in a few hours. Really, that's all it's really given to you. It's not a long time. So, I think. I mean, maybe if people are hitting the head against a brick wall with the later encounters, we will see people dip out, level up a bit, and come back. But I don't think we're going to see the real serious top teams doing that. I think that sort of weakness can be overcome by skill, for want of a better term, or light level related weakness.
When I saw this is about as intelligent as this shows as how intelligent Bungie is and how much they're looking at this and how much this means to them as a whole. It's amazing. It gives me it gives me so much more hope that Bungie, it gives me the idea that Bungie knows exactly what they want to do with any and all future content, that they're going to put some really big brain thought into it.
Big brain.
Big brain energy.
400 IQ thoughts
Red
into
pill
it
shit.
and what comes
Straight
next.
red pill concepts.
this-
Have you seen the update to the Blizzard launcher?
No.
Question mark?
Published by Bungie, made by Bungie.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I saw.
I have to look at this now.
Yeah, all right. Let's not look at it. Let's not look at it right now. Let's do the
Fuck you, I'm looking at it.
just
Partner games.
You've done half your job, Sloth. You've read half of the announcement, none of the actual important
Oh, shut the fuck
shit.
up. That's fine. Okay.
Read the bullet points. They're the fucking important shit.
For fuck's sake. Okay. I read the bullet points on that note.
You didn't read the
fucknuts.
second one, or you wouldn't have said the dumb thing about
I did.
PlayStation.
I did read the second one, you
Read it
asshat.
again and pay attention to it.
Fuck you, you fucking...
We're going to deploy the update at 8 a.m. Pacific, and the game will be down until 10 a.m. So it basically gives everyone the opportunity to get in. They've got a 2-hour window. I mean, if you've got really shit internet, you might be really struggling, but you should be right. I don't know how huge it
And
is.
the reason why I said
won't it just be like the little like unlock download and the big, or will that be the big download?
It'll be the big
be the
download,
big-
and then people have to go to Orbit to access the raid.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's
The reason
an
why I said
interesting
it is
question,
because
Matt.
PlayStation in the past has had issues with the update.
PlayStation won't be able to
update.
download because how many gigs will it be? It'll be fucking huge.
It'll be a few gigs for sure, but like that's what I'm saying. Like PlayStation has such outdated hardware, and the software is not very good.
It's so slow downloading anything on
that
PlayStation.
it's really slow, and I worry for any sort of people who are actually trying to go for words first on PlayStation. I'm not, but not being snarky. Like that's just the way that it is. PlayStation have shit hardware, so I apologize.
I'd love to see one of
Yeah,
the consoles
PlayStation
take it
people.
out. I'd love to see the status quo
I
get
would too.
challenged, to be honest. But
I
I
would
don't think
too.
it's going to happen.
The Rikakuses and Vice and stuff will have teams in PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that there's great players everywhere, so I think that's important. But I mean, you got to give credit to PlayStation too. They're so on brand that the PlayStation system actually runs on fucking old PlayStations. So that's it. They're just all linked together in a fucking hive mind.
That's copy.
I can't remember if it was PlayStation or it was the Nintendo Switch, but I was 1% off a game being downloaded, and for whatever reason, I plugged the LAN cable in, and it fucked the whole download up, and I had to start again.
Only you would do that at 99%. No one else would have touched it.
You it's at 99%. Oh, I better fucking plug something into it. Oh, fuck, it broke. Oh my! For an intelligent dude, you're as dumb as a fucking brick.
Yeah, that one's on you, Matt. There's no sympathy.
You are as thick as two short planks.
Anyway, moving on.
All right. From one season to the next, as Season of the Drifter comes to a close, a new source of powerful rewards will emerge. The Drifter will return to his role as your Gambit hype man, and Benedict 99-40 is about to become your source of brand new secrets and rewards. Let's take a look on how this new perspective will be making some sweeping changes to your weekly.
Sweeping changes.
Some sweeping changes.
All the puns.
You can tell Deej did this. There's heaps more punnerific fucking moments in this TWAB than there has been in recent ones. Less cat gifts though. I'm not sure whether that we need that addressed.
Right. Power Surge. Instead of a set of bounties, a new Power Surge quest will be your jumping off point for the Season of Opulence. You will need to complete this quest to access the new raid. A new Power Surge quest will be the jumping point for the Season of Opulence. You need to complete this quest to access the new raid. Just to make sure that you guys, we're very fucking clear on that.
Holy shit. So you get Surge gear up to 690.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Here's Matt. Oh, I'm going to do it now.
alternate characters will be rewarded.
How did you know?
Yeah, I
Now
could see
I'm like,
the,
alternate
maybe I will
characters.
do
I
it.
could see the cogs turning.
Do you reckon Surge Gear? Do you reckon that's just going to be RNG, or do you think that would be like a full gear set?
Don't know. Maybe we'll get the Titan with the fucking denim jacket.
Oh, let's not jump to that yet. We're going to come back to that. We're gonna.
Oh.
I've got a
Can you
whole
imagine? Someone just said in chat. I hope it doesn't include Crucible. Do you imagine if the Power Surge quests included Crucible tasks?
Oh, people are going to be up in arms about it regardless. Who gives a fuck? Moving on. Learning from Season of the Forge, these quests must be completed only once per account. After one character completes the quest, alternate characters will be rewarded with Surge Gear at power level 690. Gambit bounties. We didn't want rewards from the Drifter to be one of the primary sources of following.
Hold on. I feel like we're skipping it. Hold on a second. Can we just go back to this whole thing? So
yeah, send go
because the learning from Season of the Forge, which was before Season of Drift, issue with Season of the Forge is not being able to play the new content and having to do old stuff to access the new content.
Yes and no. I think the other part that they're trying to eliminate is, you know how you have to get into the forges, you've got to do the same fucking long quests on each individual character to then get into them. This is account based. It's only once per account. So
to unlock so it would be like unlocking all the forges on all your characters with one quest.
Yes.
But I also think the fact that they're beefing your light to 690, 10 below 700, is part of solving the issue
alternate characters.
Because this is the issue they're trying to solve, right? Is how do we get the players, even like myself, who are still making content but not playing Destiny as much? How do we get them to access the new seasons? How do we get people to reinvest in new seasons every season without having to make them do all the stuff that they probably got bored of? Power Surge quest.
Yeah.
I'm fucking happy with that. I'm so happy with that.
I remember a guy, maybe on this podcast, about 2 months ago, saying that they should have a quest that leads into the next fucking thing that brings you up to level.
Yeah, I remember saying that.
Self-praise is no praise.
No. I remember saying that. I remember saying that.
It's a fucking, what pearl of wisdom have you ever come out with? Whoa, fucking eat my whole ass with a spoon.
Gambit bounties. We didn't want rewards from the Drifter to be one of the primary sources. Power following his run as the central character for Season of the Drifter. As a result, I hope Log kicks his coffee table with his toe and breaks it. Power boost received from Gambit bounties will decrease once you've achieved 700 power. They will decrease even further once you've reached 720 power. Maybe just break one small toe. Prime achievements on day one. Prime achievements.
I'm just going to keep holding you up. So
two charges for each player.
What?
Well, go on then. If you're going to fucking interrupt me, fucking
just ask
speak.
questions.
Yeah, I was just saying. So
there's a lot to
power
get
boost
through.
receiving Gambit will decrease once you. Okay, so pretty much there's a catch-up mechanic. There's lots of different catch-up mechanics to get you to 700, which is sort of reinforcing what I said before. You got your Surge Gear, and then you've also got Gambit bounties that pretty much will help boost you to 700. But once you're at 700, they're going to decrease. So this is once again reactivating that part of the community that maybe have stepped away from the season pass.
Yeah, definitely.
Makes it really easy for them to get to 700, and really easy, in my opinion. It sounds like maybe people won't participate in the raid races, but
I won't be too far off doing it.
Yeah, I think it seems really possible that within the first week, you're going to have a lot more people jumping into raids that maybe never would have given it a shot.
Which begs the question. I hope there's more to this fucking DLC than raids, because if everyone's into the raid in the first week, what else is there? But I'm sure there will be. That's fine.
Well, maybe that's it, man. Maybe there's not as much, and they want people. This is part of the content. They're making it. They're trying to get rid of all the barriers to get people in.
There's also that 6-man endgame matchmade activity as well.
Keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, really a lot of people do forget about. I forgot about it last night too.
I forgot about it until right then when you mentioned it.
Yeah, same.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have said that dumb thing, what I just said 1 minute ago.
Okay.
When that dumb thing, what I just said a minute ago.
Anyway.
You'll receive two new Prime achievements, even if you were playing right up to the reset. We want you to be able to play your favorite character without it impacting your power leveling strategy. We talked about this in a previous 12. Okay,
Yep.
just to touch on, a lot of people are still saving bounties. A lot of people I have seen on streams and talking about in content, in Twitter and all that sort of thing, people are still saving bounties. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is that any bounty that you have picked up during Season of the Drifter
I thought it was capped.
is capped. Yes?
Oh, that was my understanding of it.
That was my understanding of it too.
If we're missing it.
But hold on. I wonder if the loot pool's upgraded and they're hoping for like new gear or weapons in the Season of Opulence pool.
I don't think it's for weapons or gear. I think it's for power. The reason why the people that I've spoken to, they're doing it is to hand in tokens and hand in bounties and for pinnacle weapons and all that sort of thing to get that initial jump. Now,
yeah, the pinnacle weapon would be a jump.
Recently, yeah. Was there a weapon recent, or was there a TWAB in the last 2 months that said that they wouldn't receive any rewards for the bounties?
No, it was my understanding that they were capped.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are edging their exotic bounties as well on alternate characters.
Well, I guess the thing is, there could always be a bug. Like, it's not unreasonable for someone to slide through.
Edging like something like an exotic bounty that, will drop an exotic at a higher level than you're at if you're not at the cap. I mean, they can't take that out of the game. It's a very specific fucking thing, right? But no. I mean, I'm pretty much certain that they were all capped at 700. So maybe it is just about tokens and materials and shit. I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
Just call me Ben. The benefit is that you can claim 20 bounties after reset and get a powerful drop from Ikora.
Yeah.
Or you can hand in lots and lots and lots of Gambit bounties and go up the levels in Gambit because they also will drop higher at the start of a season as well.
True. Yeah,
this is from the, like, there's no secret. Like this is from the prepare for the new Season of Opulence and the raid preparation strategy that Sweatical has done up, and it's making the rounds around Twitch as well. Anyway, your prime achievements are going to be reset to 2 as soon as the season starts. Right. The Crown of Sorrow raid begins on day 1. Season of Opulence at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Players who want to compete will need to complete the Power Surge quest. Players who want to compete in the raid race need to complete the Power Surge quest.
Thanks, Dad.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
We've taken additional steps to level the playing field for the world's first status, which we covered before. While contest is active, we covered that before. We covered it all before. Yep.
Oh, they were just recapping the.
That was a recap. So just if you missed what we said, go to the start of the podcast when it's uploaded on YouTube. Make sure you watch at least 15 minutes because then we get a view. Okay. Eververse updates
really?
With the I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass.
Like, comment, subscribe, baby.
Like, comment, subscribe.
It's your boy, Shit Hat Sloth.
Can I kick you from the call? Oh, I can.
Don't you?
With the Season of Opulence, we're making some changes to the Eververse store. We had 2 main goals for the changes we're making to Eververse in the Season of Opulence. Direct pick. Every new Eververse item in the Season of Opulence will be available for direct purchase via Silver or Bright Dust. Most of these offers will be time limited, with new items available weekly. And the greatest hits Season of Opulence's Bright Engram will contain a collection of community favorite legacy items with a focus on the best of Year 1. If you missed out on Spicy Ramen or the Selfie emote, the Season of Opulence is your chance. Yay,
So
selfies.
what I read from that is, hey, as a independent developer now without big bucks from our publisher, we're getting a bit concerned about loot boxes and the governance around loot boxes. So guess what? Now you
No
can
more
just
loot
pick
boxes.
now you can just buy it from Eververse.
Yeah,
That's what I pick
surprise.
up on.
Yeah, that's very much the way it reads.
And there seems to be a simpler interface with buying silver and front page and all that sort of thing with the Eververse, which is it actually looks quite good in the TWAB. It actually looks like a storefront, and it should look like a storefront so people can.
Oh, that's a store. I actually thought that was some sort
that
of
is
roadmap.
No, that's a storefront.
Yeah,
It looks like
nice.
a storefront. There's no hiding behind it. Kind of, like it's hidden there or anything like that. It looks like a storefront, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
How
Also, that
disgusting is that
It's
sparrow?
going to do everyone at home a favor and just move this browser up here and cover up sloth, and then you can just have a look. There's the new storefront, and look at this. What have we got here? I'm not sure about that sparrow.
Looks quite nice.
Not sure about that sparrow.
I really like it.
Do
The
you think-
Saberage salute is pretty cool.
do you think?
It's
Do you
like
think that's
a champagne bottle?
the sword, the top off the champagne
Yep.
bottle?
Yeah.
I hope
Yep.
they scull the
Yep.
champagne. That'd be all right. That looks like a skin for some
And
kind of. What's that? Is that the arbalest?
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah, it looks like it. And the hug, if you've got a fucking big fucking boner,
Yeah, the boner.
you
don't get
do the hover hands or the hug
it's so
from a
good.
distance.
I love it when Sloth steals my jokes. It's fucking awesome. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, well, you should have fucking get into it quicker. And the discouraged the discouraged multiplayer emote, which is another one of those 2-up emotes.
I think that's the thing I most want to drill in on here. I might move over a bit on Matt here. But look at the fucking jacket on that Titan. Is he wearing a jacket over his...
He's wearing a vest.
Oh, what the hell?
Ooh, fuck.
Yeah. He is wearing a fucking denim jacket.
And he doesn't have massive shoulder pads.
Yeah, well, he's not a Titan then. He's just some kind of... I don't know. He looks like a fucking hipster, to be honest. Who else would wear that shit?
He is a Titan. What do you mean he's not a Titan?
Titans need big shoulders. I hate that fucking whimsy.
Dude,
Titans
he's got
need
the
small
freaking
shoulders.
Six Fronts logo on his arm.
I know it's an actual Titan, Matt, for God's sake. But I just like, where did this...
Stick with the joke, Mylan, you fucking dullard.
Where did the moleskin shit come from? Like...
The hunter looks like he's wearing a Dryzerbone, eh?
Yeah,
He's got a whip. Does he have a whip?
Yes. New to Destiny. Whips. Just fucking whips. He's holding a whip. 100%.
No, the whip's on it's attached to his belt. He's not holding it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I really got to figure out how to do that more effectively. But he's 100% holding a whip. I'm not sure where the whip comes into. Maybe he gets it off Callus after the Big Daddy.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, it gets a bit kinky.
And the Titan's got a box on. Yeah, all right. And then there's a whole the wrapped items and refunds. Individual items purchased for silver will now go to the relevant character inventory location in a wrapped state. Example: a sparrow purchased directly for silver will have arrived wrapped in the sparrow inventory. To use an item, it must be opened just like a bundle. Once open, the item functions and can be accessed normally. If you wish to refund an item, you have 7 days to do so. Items that have been opened cannot be refunded. Actually, that's good.
They're
If you
just
make it-
ticking
if you
and
make a
checking
mis-
all their boxes for microtransactions. It makes everything's
They
above board,
legitimately are.
legit. There's so
It's
airtight now. This is super.
It's very
airtight.
straight to the point. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. As long as you don't open it, you can return it and get a refund.
Meaning, if you bought it by accident, there's no way you can say I bought it by accident and then opened it by accident.
Yeah, legit.
This is making it airtight. Your responsibility as a consumer.
All right. Do you want to cover the at your service, Matt or Log, whichever one of you want to? I need to stand up because it hurts.
At our, what are you talking about? Oh, right, yeah, I'll do it because we all know that I'm great at reading. Anyway,
Yeah, and I just spent an hour and a half reading to people so they're sick of my voice.
mate, it is not our
Shut the
response.
fuck up. Shut up.
Anyone that watches the podcast and doesn't watch Matt's solo live streams, they are literally him reading off a fucking Word document. That's it.
Do you know what's
And like the first 20 minutes of it,
upsetting?
there wasn't even a Word document. It was just Matt sitting there faffing about drinking coffee.
Do you know what's upsetting is like more people will tune into a Word document stream than me actually playing a video game.
Yeah,
And I don't know whether to be upset by that or like happy about that. Like if I stopped reading the Word document, more people would leave.
I think you've just painted yourself into a corner, Matt. What if you tell them that while you're playing, you've got a Word document up on the other screen and we'll be reading from it, but they don't get to see the Word document? Do you think that would give them enough faith to hang around? All right. See what happens when Sloth goes. This whole thing just goes freeform. All right. Crown of Sorrow raid day one preparations. As soon as season Opulence kicks in on June 4, the world's first race for Crown of Sorrow raid will begin. To help illustrate a more definitive starting line, we provided vital information below that day one contenders should be aware of. All right, so players will not be able to access Crown of Sorrow raid if they have not yet completed the Season of an Opulence Power Surge schmiggity schmig, which is what Sloth has painfully said 5 times already ad nauseum. Cool.
This will apply to all 5 team members, so you can't just have one person do it and try to jump in.
Yep.
Everyone has to do it.
Players who join in progress during the Crown of Sorrow raid's first encounter will spawn in dead outside of the encounter space. To mitigate this issue, all fire team members must join up in orbit prior to launching the Crown of Sorrow raid activity.
So just a bit of heads up, like because often what would happen for those who haven't done like not world's first, so those who just haven't participated in the rush to get in, it's really exciting to see the raid encounter pop up in the director somewhere and to be able to access it. But what often happens is you might have some fire team members that, due to their proximity to the server or wherever they are in the world, like they'll see it before you'll see it.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, I've got it. And they'll get in and then everyone will jump in on them. So I guess this is saying if that happens, you're going to have to do a full wipe, which isn't really a big issue, but I guess they're just sort of setting the expectation that if you join mid-raid, you're going to spawn in dead. But isn't that usual? Isn't that how it normally is?
Yeah, but it sounds like you can't be rezzed, which is the issue.
Yeah.
You spawn in dead outside of the encounter space. So I'm assuming that it means that no one can get to you to revive you. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an issue, would it? Unless there's tokens or whatever. I hope they fucking get rid of that system. I still don't like it, but whatever.
The token res, yeah.
Yeah, I still think it's a bit dodgy. Seasonal weapon drops. So basically, the service revolver and last petition are not going to be available for a little bit. You can get them if you've already had them drop, but you will not be able to get them if you've not had them drop. I imagine if you've played Destiny through the course of Season of the Drifter, you've probably had at least one of each drop. So it's not really going to be a huge issue. And the Recluse, Oxygen SR3 and 21% Delirium, the Pursuit rewards from last season will continue to be available next season, so don't sweat on that. That's about all there is from player support this week. So, I don't know. It was a good TWAB. I think it was good, far better than last week, which felt like just badness all around.
Yeah, we got through it though. We got through it easy.
Breezy.
Interesting stuff, man. I think. Okay, 4th of June. How many days are we away?
A week and a bit.
Is it next week?
10 days.
10 days. Week and a bit.
Sorry, 11 days.
Is it? Can
10
I
days.
get? How many levels could I get? I'm well far behind. How many levels can you get in 10 days? Power level.
How hard are you going to play in 10 days?
It's probably not very hard.
There is the devil in the detail, Matthew. I mean, that's the funny thing about where we're at is like I didn't chase light level at all last season and ended up just sort of trundling my way up there through more dailies than anything. I didn't do any super raid running, but if you did want to level up quick, hitting the raids would be the way to do it.
Hey, Danny's away. Can we get a raid going tonight?
No.
I'm sure you can, man. I'm sure you can. I'm sure we
See
can
how they
manage something.
treat me, guys. Do you see how they treat me?
Oh, I'm coming in from the wilderness. Set a raid up for me. I haven't bothered playing enough. Set a raid up for me. Fuck off. The TA boys will run us through. They're in chat, which is, timely. We'll bring up chat now. And if there's anything that you think is pertinent going forward to season of Opulence that you want to discuss or anything you think we've missed, please, just abuse us about it now. Gentle abuse. But beyond that, that's good. How about through the week, 4th anniversary of Trials? It feels that's fucking crazy that was 4 years ago. I remember I recorded a video.
Do you have some good memories of Trials?
No, I just remembered getting flogged every time
I remember getting carried. I only went once or twice, just massive backpack up there. And I did it for a lore video, of course, just so I could get the footage of the lighthouse.
I think,
which, by the way, we never fucking knew what happened with. Like, it's still mysterious to us. Why did Osiris ever forge these trials?
I think, weren't they just made up by Brother Vance? Isn't that the whole deal?
Yeah,
it's just all made up shit. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, but in the lighthouse, remember how there's all those like secret spots with the bodies and the glimmer and stuff?
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe they were just red herrings put there by Brother Vance, who turns out is just a douchebag.
That's a bit of a question. So I did watch about 5 minutes of your stream before I got sick of you and had to turn you off.
Oh, unlucky.
But you were talking about Molly and in Molly, Molly or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And talking about like the shadows of Callus and all that sort of interesting question from Ronaldo. Thank you. Do you think both the raid and the 6-man activity will be on the Leviathan and both tied to Callus? Well, the raid, if you look at the first picture in the TWAB, it is a picture of Callus's face in that gaudy gold.
Well, it's not.
That comes from.
It's interesting. It's not shiny. It's all busted up.
It's been like it's like gold that hasn't been polished or it hasn't been polished.
It's weathered. It looks weathered.
Weathered, yes.
Yeah.
So Callus, that is definitely Callus, but
there is no space like that on the Leviathan, as we know.
No, there is not. So I think the raid will take place in regards to it may not take place on the Leviathan, but it does have something to do with Callus. It does have something to do with the shadows of Callus. It does have something to do with, it does have something to do with the Hive because of the sorrow, crown of sorrow. What are the weapons of sorrow? They're Hive.
Why don't we let Matt talk about it? Because he just did a fucking whole stream about it, and let's get him to summarize his entire stream in a few minutes. And
well, actually, I didn't talk. So I've got a video coming out tomorrow, Sunday night, Monday morning, Australia, about the Crown of Sorrow, and I did see a non-pigs write up, which we spoke about last time on Star Collective.
Yep.
My prediction is I did this whole sort of analysis of what sorrow means, right? And if you look at what the word sorrow means, I think because you see books of sorrow, which is the history of the Hive, you see weapons of sorrow, which are Hive-like weapons that, consume the light. And when you actually read about it, this is English terms that we have given to Hive textbooks, right? So, sorrow is not a Hive word. It's an English word we gave to represent the philosophies of the Hive. And my opinion is the reason why we called the books of sorrow is because we see how the Hive treat love and war. The Hive gods treat love and war as the same. They kill their brothers and sisters, their family, because if I kill you, it proves that I am part of the final universe. It proves that I belong here. I do you a favor by killing you. For anyone from humanity to read that, that's sorrowful, right?
Yeah.
But what it leads to is evolution. When Oryx first learns the power of the sword logic, he gets told, cut apart your children with your longsword. Cut them in half until you feel your blade grow in power. Kill your literal larvae children. And this leads eventually to, Oryx kills Savathun, his sister. He kills Zyphia Wrath, and he gains enough power to kill the worm god Akka, and he becomes the Taken King, right? So it's a road of evolution. And I think for humanity to read about that road, well, that's a road of sorrow, because what it means is you as a guardian need to give up on humanity, kill family and friends, but knowing that you'll become an anti-hero, knowing that you'll gain power. So I did all this sort of analysis around that. And then when you think about that now you can analyze like Crown of Sorrow. So this is like the either the ruler of evolution, and that would be Savathun, or, and I think this suits the theme of Cabal better, is to crown a champion. Because this is what Callus wants to do. He wants to crown a champion, right? The Crown of Sorrows is the champion of evolution. I'm predicting a Callus tournament to prove that we are worthy to join him and the shadows of Callus. And we'll have to take out the hive, and that's how the sorrow comes into it. And we'll be crowned the champion.
That's
I dig
interesting.
it. I dig it hard. That is
I like that. Interesting question from Just Call Me Ben. Thank you. Does anybody think that something this season will tie in with the Traveler's Light hitting the Dreadnought and the Awoken fleet in the rings of Saturn? Because at the end of the vanilla story, if you all remember,
it does go
the
past
Traveler's
it, yeah.
Light, every cutscene or every scene change in that little cutscene, we have visited,
that's right.
except for the pyramid ships, Awakening, and the Dreadnought. Every other place we have seen and we have been to.
That's fucking interesting.
I mean,
So,
I can definitely see that, like, Callus asking us to wipe out Savathun as part of proof that we are the pinnacle. Like, I can imagine that would be something that he would do, was to pit us against us. And maybe that's how we go back to one of these places. And that sort of is like, if you look at this banner with Callus's like weathered look, like this sound, like I would predict that the hive took over some aspect of Callus territory, but we only know he has the Leviathan. So, like, I don't know, maybe Savathun invaded the Leviathan, and Callus, in all the previous raids, basically we had to get them out of his Leviathan.
Just what if? Do you have to be hive to be part of Sword Logic? Could he go in there and be the strongest and basically usurp a leaderless faction of hive?
Well, I think that's what the Shadows of Yore are basically trying to prove, that you can apply the lessons of Dredge and Yore and leveraging the darkness.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And a lot of people have theorized that Guardians apply Sword Logic. We killed to prove that we are pinnacle. We have mini throne worlds. We have mini throne worlds in the form of ghosts.
It's pretty hard to argue against, isn't it? Like that.
A question from Matt Grundy. What about Aramis, the leader of he's the leader of the fallen faction on Earth.
Yeah, that came with the
zero
hour. Yeah, Aramis was the other leader of the fallen dudes. I can't remember the specifics of it now. Up against Mithrax.
She was the Baroness, right? Was she the Baroness that you fight at the end?
Well, she's on your team.
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
Mithrax is on your team.
Yeah, I know Mithrax.
He didn't. Aramis was just the captain at the end of Zero Hour. I've actually done Zero Hour, taken through it.
Wow.
But Aramis is the is the figurehead, but the captain that we fight at the end of Zero Hour is the envoy of Aramis or something.
Yeah, like
that.
loyal to
Right,
Aramis or
okay.
something like that.
Loyal to Aramis.
Yeah, it was in the title.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I just want to add this, like that image at the top of the TWAB, like if you remember from when the Leviathan dropped, it was all gold and gaudy and shiny and all that sort of thing. But it seems that someone's forgotten to fucking get the brasso out and cleaned it, and it's like he's been forgotten.
Good pick up in this banner. I reckon this banner is a massive clue because we do not see. So this, okay. So there's two options, right? This is either, three options. This is either not the Leviathan and it's completely separate space.
I reckon it's 100% the Leviathan. I just reckon it's part that he's lost control of.
It's the Leviathan and a section that he lost control of, like he lost control with Spire of Stars, and he asked us to clean out the Cabal in there. And this is going to be a section he lost control of that has Hive in it, hence Crown of Sorrow, Champion of Sorrow. Or lost complete. I don't know. I can't imagine him losing complete control.
Or he's managed,
so I reckon it's going to be a section.
He's managed to somehow usurp control of Hive, and it just looks grungy because they're grots, and he's kept them in this area.
True. No, that's true. That's
fucking
true.
wash your ass.
Yeah, no, that's
fucking
true.
filthy Hive.
But do you know what? I'm really excited because I got a little bit tired of the Callus palettes, the gold and purple.
Yeah, I'm a bit beyond it.
It was gaudy. It was like a really, really cheap casino in fucking like, I don't know, in Atlantic City or something like that. It was
funny because
this is a cool way to redesign it.
For the first month that it was out, it was all like, I love gold. And then basically it turned out no one loved gold.
Yeah.
Gold was a bit shit.
Interesting point from Exiled Dark Elf. Thank you, mate. We've stopped something coming through portals since D2 started. Is the only place Savathun can come back through now is through Oryx's old throne world, which is on the Dreadnought.
Well, there's actually probably a better place that she can come back through, which is in the either the Ecdysis or the Dust Lord. I can't remember which one, but the training Cryptarch who finds the portal,
the portals that are out the
dead orbit, the ones that are on the dead orbit spaceships, and she travels through and she finds the 9, links her to the 9, and in that space, a needle comes through, and a needle with a Ahamkara bone T set, which we know is the daughter of Savathun. So we know that Savathun has sort of
is on
been
the other
in
side.
This space.
Yeah.
And so that would be a pretty decent portal to enter our area. I can't remember what do they need to enter our. Do they need to come through a portal? I guess so. Oryx had his court to enter our world, and when we killed Oryx, we went on the Dreadnought, and we went through a portal. We had to open that portal
into his throne world and killed him. Right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, we had to portal in it, and same with Crota. We went through the Hive Hellmouth and went through the portal on the bridge, the big white gate that led us into his throne world.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Calling it now. Portal on the Leviathan. Oh!
So that's the more that we see. So the more that we see in regards to hints and all that sort of thing, and what the people who went to the most recent summit rather. I reckon this content should be could be very, very fucking good. Very good.
Oh, I mean, we always
it's highly likely it's going to be very good.
I mean, we look at some of the notes they've hit on the seasonal content so far, and admittedly, it's always been tempered with something else that was equally not right. But it was always a matter of time until they refined the method, right? Like they're not stupid people. There's always been this. You know, there's been elements of the game that they've deliberately dabbled with things like you look at the Drifter Praxic Order quest that, you know, it was a pretty minimal thing. but it was, you know, a mechanic that we hadn't really seen before. And I think that as we go on, and depending on what happens with what comes after this, which is, you know, Deej heavily alludes to happening in the not too distant future in the TWAB. I think we could be seeing a lot more of the things that we've seen skirted around the edges of in this content. Now, it's super easy to look forward optimistically, especially at something called Opulence. So I think we just do that for now, and once we're there, we worry about it. But you're right, like Ninja, when we were talking to him, he had nothing but good vibes. I mean, he obviously didn't tell us anything. Cheeky bugger.
He quite legitimately was the final thing he said in the Discord call that day was, I'm really excited for what's coming next. And he's just like, click, end call. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we were like, I was about to do that. Oh, don't tell me. Please tell me. He wouldn't do that.
No, Ice Joe. Okay, so we know that new Crucible maps are coming. New Crucible maps are coming, but new Crucible maps. So Ice Joe and Cads are having a conversation in chat, and they're talking about Crucible maps. Yes, new Crucible maps are coming, and we did cover that in the TWAB a few weeks ago. But well, I say a few weeks ago, last year. But it's not for the it's not just for the annual pass. It's not just for the annual pass owners. It's for everyone. And new Crucible maps will come, but they want to get the PvE content out first.
I think, look, we can drill down on this a little bit, because I think first and foremost, I think we can all say that the kind of stagnation of the PvP side of Destiny over the seasonal pass content, and it's not been where it needs to be, and I 100% agree with that. But I do think going forward, I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with it, because it also coincides with all of the content that has been developed by other studios coming to a close, right? Like if it comes after this season, it'll be completely in-house, and I think that matters. I think that, you know, this content, the seasonal content has still been had the subsidiary studios of Activision have had a hand in developing it. This season of Opulence is the final sort of piece of that pie on a Trivial Pursuit board, and then we move to whatever Destiny becomes in Bungie's hands from that point on. I think that's important, and I know that a lot of people are nostalgic this week about Trials and all that sort of stuff. You know, some stupid fucks even sing songs about it, but I think that we've got to be realistically looking forward, because I don't think that going back to 3v3 Trials and doing all the old shit is particularly going to grow the game. I think that, you know, you can ride the wave of nostalgia for a little while, but it gets old. If they can develop something that is more expansive and more inclusive and, you know, better, I think that it'll be for the good of the game in the long term. But yeah, I do hope that there's at least a map or something for the Crucible players in this content.
Yeah, I guess we definitely share. Well, I can't possibly share the frustrations of Crucible players because I don't play Crucible enough, but I can see how that would be.
It is really frustrating. Yeah, like Matt and I aren't Crucible players. Log plays the most Crucible out of the rest of us and all, out of all of us and all that sort of thing. Like, but they're trying to drill down. They're trying to not drill down. They're trying to nail down the PvE side of things, because the PvE side of things is what really draws the players in.
Yeah,
I think they tried to push Crucible very hard, and I think they had a really big push towards competitive Destiny in the beginning of Destiny 2. They did, and it didn't work out. And I think they haven't really recovered since then, and they're still trying to work out what PvP means in Destiny.
And exactly what Chibi said, Chibi Kim. Thank you. Maybe that'll be addressed in next week's 12. Maybe that'll be addressed later on down the track. Maybe that'll be a September thing. We all feel for the PvP side of the community, because the PvP side of the community, when the player numbers drop off,
yeah, it suffers.
It suffers a lot, because the only people playing PvP are the people who are well, the sweats.
It's brutal at the moment, and I'll say
it's
this:
really brutal at the moment.
I think if you've managed to stay the course in Destiny in PvP, like up to now, when that becomes expansive again, by the time the next season kicks off and things start to wind up a little bit, you're going to notice that you're probably better than you think you are, because the people that are in the Crucible right now, for the most part, are fucking, like, they live there, man. They own that shit.
They own that
seriously
stuff.
Every game is sweaty. It is hard as fuck at the moment. So I think that's the silver lining in it. But yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know anything, so we can't tell anyone anything about anything. Yeah. But we do agree that there needs to be. I mean, that's. I think the fact that they've done nothing. I'll say that. I think the fact that they've done nothing speaks to the fact that they know that there's a big issue at its core, and they're addressing that first, right? Like, you're not going to fucking worry about putting things around the edges of something if you need to rebuild it from the ground up or whatever. So I hope that's, there's got to be people working on this shit. That's, at the end of the day, they're not working on maps. They're working on systemic things, clearly. So I don't know. Time will tell. I'll look forward to finding out.
Plans do change, ladies and gentlemen. Plans do change, and the goalposts do shift, especially in game development. And we've seen that. We have seen that with Destiny 1, Destiny 2, and every single DLC that's come with it. It's that's exactly right, Rusty Shackle, bro. The funny part is remembering how Destiny 1 people complained that every event was PvP focused, and they went the opposite way with D2. They did.
Yeah,
they tried their best
to be struck.
There is a balance to be struck, and they tried their best with the Iron Burden and all that sort of thing, which was a great idea, but I don't think it was very well received by the community. I only know of 3 people.
It was one of those things
people that I off the top of my head who have completed. Like they only 3 people who have completed the Iron Burden to its full extent.
All right,
and it's frustrating.
Let's move on from the negativity fucking PvP talk. But actually, while we're talking about PvP, me and Sassy were talking through the week, and because I'm shit and he's a good teacher, we're going to actually start producing some content together of, like, me being the fucking young grasshopper to Sassy's fucking Mr. Miyagi. So,
well, you're not the young grasshopper because you've just...
Yeah, we'll probably do... I don't know. We'll iron it out as we go forward, but that's the plan, in that we'll probably do a short little segment that we can run somewhere in here if it fits. But on Sass's channel, I think he's going to just do long-form assassinations of everything that I do.
Well, see, this is the thing, Log, and this is the thing that you and I struggle with, is that it's not as a lack of skill. It's because our eyesight, our reactions, our wrists, our fingers are just not as good as the people who are a bit younger and who may or may not have been working in a working outside or working in a scientific environment for years and years. So
there's that.
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, really, we'll see how far I can get. I think it'll be fun. If nothing else, it'll be good to be doing something positive on that front. But yeah, sorry, I was distracted from where we were headed.
No, see, and a lot of people have said this, and I tend to agree. I am reserving a lot of judgment for this new content. I'm reserving a lot of judgment for this new content until we see it. Because I think a lot of people jump straight onto, it's going to be shit, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Just reserve judgment. See how it looks, guys, before we go any further. Yeah, we understand here. We at the podcast understand, and even the 3 of us individually understand that the PvP community is not being looked after as well as others. And all that sort of thing. But they've got to get the core of the game down first before they can reinvent the wheel with PvP. And bringing and a lot of nostalgia came back this week, as Log said before when I went outside with Trials, the anniversary of Trials. You know,
there was also a lot of silliness as well. Like, why didn't Bungie announce that they were bringing back Trials this week? Oh, like, fuck off. They've said
almighty.
But the thing is too, right? And it sort of all works in with each other. Is what reminded me seeing all the nostalgia from Trials is we don't really have PvP content creators for Destiny. Everyone
There's not many of them left.
doing something in that space have
Yeah.
either moved on or stopped. You know, even something like
there's a few
the
like
Crucible.
TV and stuff are still around.
Yeah, but I mean, like TV is the only one I can really think of. Who are
comparatively to a lot of people that I have on my follow list on Twitch, TV is probably one of the very few. Like there was a dude that I followed who did Trials help on Xbox, and he was very, very good with it. But he's moved on to like RuneScape and shit like that because he just can't. There's nothing in Destiny for him at the moment.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that's the reason why I'm saying that is I can see how it can feel like no one's representing your interests in the Crucible community, because when you have a lot of loud voices for PvE like your dados and that are connected with the community through their big streams and through, you know, making YouTube content and sort of constantly producing content, you know, you can see a dialogue happening often, or at least you can feel like someone's representing you. And that's not always the case, because some people feel like content creators don't represent the community. But I can see the opposite of that being true too, is like when you have an exodus of content creators from a certain area. For example, let's say me and Bife stopped making lore videos, right? And there was no one making lore videos and the narrative started to fall away. You could be really angry because you're like, I can't get my words to Bungie to say stuff.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's that there's not even anyone around that's going to validate the way that you feel either. You know, like you're pissed off and maybe you can't personally articulate it, but there's not someone who spends their life doing this stuff day in, day out that's going to be able to do it for you. I can totally understand how it's kind of got to the point where it is, but I think there's a lot of those dudes, and specifically talking about like the gigs of the world and Triple Rex and stuff like that are out there that are doing their things and just trying to get their streams by, that if we can manage to literally get something that hits the right notes with Destiny, I still think that they're there. I just think that they sort of by necessity have been forced to move into things like Apex and Fortnite and fucking all that garbage.
Can we briefly touch on the video that Slayerage put out this week?
Oh, if I'd known that, I would have gone through and taken notes, because it was probably the best fucking discussion of the nerfs I've seen so far.
So I'll post it in chat so you guys can see it. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. I probably should have taken notes as well, but he has made a 10-minute video that really makes a lot of sense, and I highly recommend going and checking out. Now we'll put that in the description in the of the podcast on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. So make sure you go and check that out after watching the podcast as well, because he has some really, really good points to make. Highly recommend it. Now, Maddie, have you seen this?
No, I haven't. I've just heard you guys talk about it. So
it's
you got
really,
the Cliff
really
Notes?
good.
I
don't have Cliff Notes.
What would be the overarching statement? Is there any overarching message about it?
Do you want to know what the funniest thing about it all is that basically the premise of the way we've come so far up the power creep ladder that we're effectively Atheon now. In that you look at the encounters, the later stages of the Reckoning, and they're not about killing you outright. They're about knocking you out of your zone of protection and off a cliff. Because ads now aren't really powerful enough to be able to force us to hide or anything like that. All they can do is knock us off. So really,
the main thing is power creep, really.
Yeah, it's power creep's gotten to the point where we are beyond. Like we're breaking the game pretty hard. I'm not going to do Slayerage the disservice of paraphrasing him too hard, but he definitely makes some valid points. So if you're still upset about that, go into it with an open mind. I know that it was probably I'm not going to say it was a brave thing of him to do, but it was a pretty solid move on his part to come out as a guy that's a pinnacle player and say, you know, I understand the logic behind this and ultimately support the move. It does suck. Don't get us wrong. It does suck to have your cool toys taken off you. That's, you know, at the end of the day, I think maybe putting Whisper back in the form that it is like currently right now is probably not the best move that they've made. So if they had their time over again, I think they probably would have looked more seriously at that and basically the like exotic armor pieces that allow you to ignore basically motes of light. That's what they're trying to get back to, is forcing us to use motes of light to regain our supers rather than just having a arbitrary piece of armor on that makes it happen for you, really, which ignores an entire game mechanic that's been there since Destiny's inception that ultimately is part of its identity. So,
whatever happens in September and post-September in this game, I have faith after seeing what they've done with the raid and contest and all that sort of thing. It's more than faith. I have trust. I trust that Bungie knows exactly what they're doing, and I have trust that they will give us the content, like give us really good content, really good content, rather. Not the content we deserve, because we as the Destiny community, and I mean this in the nicest way possible.
The D word.
No, we in the Destiny community do not deserve anything.
Well, we deserve entertainment for the money we spend, but you can't dictate to a
for the money
company
we
the type of entertainment that you receive.
Exactly.
It's like going and paying for a movie and then getting to the end of the movie and being like, what the fuck? Why didn't this happen at this particular point?
Or paying for Netflix or paying for Foxtel and complaining that Game of Thrones had a shit ending, and then fucking going and signing.
We can talk about that. We're
petition.
an hour and a half into the hour and 15 minutes into the podcast.
Fucking Christ. No.
You've seen it, right? You've seen it?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So that's before you go into that. That's
before
an interesting
deliberately
point,
derail the Destiny podcast.
Before we go into that, that's the thing. Activision has been removed from the Battle.net launcher. It is now Destiny and Call of Duty are under partner rather than Activision. So maybe that sets a precedence that Bungie isn't, Destiny isn't going anywhere in regards to PC. Maybe it's going to stay on the Battle.net launcher.
I never really thought it would, to be honest. I don't know.
Just wait for them to release their own launcher. Epic Bungie launcher.
As long as it's not on fucking Origin, I'm fine.
Fuck Origin and fuck EA.
If it's on Origin, I'll make you a deal right now that this podcast ceases instantly, and I'm going on to some other fucking aspect of my life.
Look, I made promises like that back about Cade's death, saying I'd delete my channel. Someone reminds me every fucking day of that video. So
don't delete your channel. Just transfer ownership to one of us, and we'll you keep making
pretty
the
much
content.
the same as deleting it.
Oh well, okay then, go fuck yourself. So guys, do you want to talk about Game of Thrones? You want to talk about season 8 of Game of Thrones?
Sure, why not?
Not really.
All right.
So, I'm over it. It's done.
I kind of am as well. Finished. It's just a chapter of my life that I've closed. I'm happy John gets to go up north and marry Tormund and whatever. That's the end.
All I know is there are people that their belief in their ability to write a TV series is very incongruent with their skill of writing. That's all I know. Is there's a fucking million people that believe.
I have had that tweet written about 8 times where someone's like, criticize the writing. And I feel like going, judging by the writing of your tweet, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I can't. I just don't.
I have
on Twitter.
Interesting thing. Oh, sorry, go on, Manny.
I was going to say, it's fine to criticize. But I do think there's a line when you go, I could do it better. Do you know?
Well, fucking do it then, you daft cunt.
I know. That's my response. Then what are you fucking waiting for? And a lot of that sentiment comes from YouTube comments where I see people like, oh, you suck. I'm like, mate, fucking YouTube's free. You get a free account. Just go do it if you think you can do better, man. You know, and so that's my general sort of take around. I think criticism is perfectly fine and should be delivered in a perfectly reasonable way, but I draw a line at saying that you can do the job better than someone when you've never worked in the industry or never done it.
Amen.
So
I know another fucking thing that
theory.
should probably, take that approach. Like, Destiny the game.
So do I.
Subreddit.
There was a theory that I did a spoiler cast last night about it, and there was a theory that one of my mods actually gave to me.
Just
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
There was a that John, he stabbed Daenerys. Drogon burnt the Iron Throne, melted it, picked up Daenerys and flew west. And there was actually a callback to that scene in the last episode as he was last seen flying west. Now, some people are saying that there's going to be a spin-off series where Kinvera, the head, the high priestess of the Church of the
Lord of Light,
Church of the Lord of Light, will bring her back because she is the chosen one. Now, I don't fully agree with that, but
I'm pretty sure there's already confirmation that there's going to be some spin-off series.
Yeah, there's already some
if there
in
is
production,
a
but
series,
the ones that they've
cool,
announced are prequels. So there's one that's about the children of the forest and all that sort of guff.
Which is 100% why the friggin' Night King didn't get any fucking explanation.
Yeah.
And didn't get any role, like why he was immune to fire and all that kind of stuff.
He was immune to fire. Well, people are saying he was immune to fire because he was the great 100 times 100 grandfather of the Targaryens.
Do you know?
I saw stuff about that. Look, you know what my favorite thing about Game of Thrones is? The main reason why I'm upset is because
Game
of Thrones gave me the opportunity to explain to people who don't play video games what my YouTube channel is about. Because we get around and we theorize and all this shit about who's going to be on the throne, and then at the end of that conversation, I go, "You see, this is what I do on YouTube, but for video games." And they're like, "Oh, I get it now." And I was like, "That's what I do. I write fucking theories for video games."
But you did it about a video game. You're still a fucking nerd, and it's not a real job,
right?
The only thing about the whole series that seriously disappointed me is that there's this whole thing about Jon being a Targaryen. I was fully expecting him to get just completely fucking torched by dragonfire at the end and then just be standing there afterwards. And then everyone would be like, holy fuck, he's a Targaryen. And that changes the whole thing, right?
I thought the same, yeah. I thought
it's like this sub fact that they just, I don't know, I guess that's universe building at some point where it's like, here's a fact that could play into it and ultimately never does. It adds depth, but
I would really struggle with getting into a spin-off. I think it's come to a conclusion that they can't really come back from. It's a TV show that was really, really good, but just let it end. Let it end and let George R. Martin write his spin-offs if he can pull himself away from the taco truck. And,
I love how like the reading fan base have lost all hope of him actually ever finishing the books.
No. I mean,
did you see that like 2 days ago he said in an interview that he actually wants someone to detain him until he's done it? Like someone needs to lock me up because... Oh, it must suck just being a fucking multi-millionaire famous author. He's got heaps better shit to do than finish these books.
Exactly.
He doesn't need to do them.
He could.
He's investing
so much cocaine that you could put him in a paper bag and call him a sherbet dib-dab.
I don't think he's quite fucking Stephen King, mate.
But
because he's helping with all these other productions now as well, and everyone's like, "What? Why are you finishing the books?"
You know why? You want to know why? Because I've got a fucking wolf sanctuary. That's why. Fuck you guys. Like, man, if I had a wolf sanctuary, I would be worried about books.
There's an interesting. So I was watching TV with the girls this morning, and an interesting advert came up on Foxtel. I'm not sure if it's been released anywhere else, but a TV series written based on the writings of Bruce Lee, based in the Tong Wars in San Francisco, which I'm really excited to look at. It's called Warrior, mainly because Bruce Lee is a fucking, like, anything Bruce Lee is epic as hell. But I'm really excited to give that a look because it actually looks pretty decent.
Apparently,
that's pretty
fucking
fantastic.
Chernobyl's pretty killer as well. It's only
I was going to
short,
say,
but-
if you're thinking about
Chernobyl,
ways to keep your Foxtel subscription, if you live in Australia, Chernobyl is fucking amazing. There's only 3 episodes out so far, maybe 4, depending on what
I've heard that it
comes out.
blows your mind a bit, though. Like, it's kind of
pretty confronting and shit. Yeah,
it is like
confronting, like Black Mirror confronting, or confronting as in like this is what actually happened.
Confronting like shit. I didn't realize how much of like almost a world disaster Chernobyl was. Like people across the fucking Russian, I don't know what sea it is, across the globe, you know, in Norway and shit, were getting like, yeah, we've detected like whatever picograms of like radiation. Is your power plant okay? Like, you know, when they were like,
excuse me.
yeah, like you're sending fucking nuclear dust over and like, you know, the way that they're like,
no,
basically if this gets into the water table, it's just gonna fucking kill everything. Our farm, our plants, our people. And it was like, it is scary. Yeah. It is scary shit.
So I imagine it's not doing a lot for like people campaigning for nuclear energy and shit.
Oh, dude.
Well, see, this is the thing. Is that
must have destroyed any fucking campaign.
See, this is the thing. Nuclear energy is now, well, it's, I mean, relatively safe, but it comes down to the fuckwit factor of the humanity.
Yeah. Yeah, and you look at I don't know, I probably have atypical beliefs in this, but I think that ultimately it was probably the future that we've scared ourselves off because we flew too close to the sun too soon and fucked it more than anything.
Well, it probably does. Yeah. It probably doesn't help that Russia. Oh, hello, Thea.
Here, come in.
She looks like a red devil as she just bursts in that door. She's like, ah!
You want to say hello? No.
So for our audio-only listeners, Log's youngest daughter
now the other one's in
and
here.
eldest daughter have just appeared on camera.
Yeah.
That must mean it's time to wrap up the podcast.
Yeah, I think
it must mean it's time to
Give me a hug.
Nah, she's all right. You're not going to get her to go. Can you say hello? Say hello. Okay, don't. Just she's scared of sloth. It's fine. So am I.
All right, yeah, it's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to our live audience for hanging out. Chook, thank you very much for the continued support of gifting subs and all that sort of thing. You're quite legitimately solo paying for improvements to the podcast and paying for uploads to Spotify and all that sort of thing. So thank you very much. To our live viewers, again, thank you very much for hanging out. To our audio-only listeners, thank you for your continued patronage. And to YouTube, make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You won't receive any notifications because YouTube is a big pile of dog's ass. But
hey, I got one for Matt's stream earlier, so it works.
If we've missed anything, or if you guys want to let us know on some talking points or anything like that, questions, queries, doubtful points, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you go and check out Slayridge's video, which is up in the description. And if you have anything that you really want to tell us about, add us in the Discord or add us on Twitter at LogPowerSlave, at Mylan Games, at Realtime Sloth, and at DDU_podcast. Until the next time, we have been the DDU. And we're going to go raid another Australian Destiny caster. Hey, thanks. Appreciate you.
I'm doing my best, guys. I'm doing my best. It's all
the law will find you and it will crown you the champion of evolution. See you next time.
Oh, can you say Shax? Can you say? Nah, right. You're not going to do it.
Nah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Shack.
Bye.
Bye-bye.